It's a great comedy, and you're going to really enjoy yourself. So I thought, well, right. So we changed it immediately, and we're able to notice the sales pick up pretty much straight away. And so it's very interesting. But it's about saying the experience you have today of the world is different from the experience you had of the world yesterday. And it's in our business, because we deal in experience and emotions and ideas, it's about trying to constantly change it. And I think that's one of the things that's interesting about us, and certainly the way I work at ATC, is that I encourage that philosophy in everyone there. So operations work like that, production works like that. It's about the culture that happens in the rehearsal room and the performance also going across every part of the business. It's interesting hearing you talk to Lee, because you're talking about a very similar thing in the way that you work with what happens creatively is how it works. You set up your business to reflect that.
Prime example of everything interacting.
Yeah.
And it's also an example of that many of the tenants that sit around this are just business tenants. You know, at the end of the day, knowing and understanding the market, thinking about competition, what's competing for the entertainment dollar that night. Is somebody going to go to this play, that dance, the show on, the movies, and so even though we sometimes steer clear of talking about business language when we look at creative industries and the arts, the reality is you have to, because you're still running a business. The end goal might be to be a charitable trust, not to make profits, but ultimately you need to be sustainable. And so all of the business fundamentals that sit around the commercial enterprise are just as relevant in an arts. And one of the sad things, I guess, for us from a business point of view is we see wonderful, wonderful ideas and opportunities and exciting potential businesses who have all of the art side well checked off, and an imbalance around just recognising that there's some fundamentals of running any organisation, be it not-for-profit, for-profit, social, arts, etc., and they have to be recognised and realised in order for it to be sustainable.
It's kind of about rigour of process, really. I mean, we are a charitable trust as well, but but I guess really, I mean, where I sit and where all the theatre companies, I guess we're kind of at we do think we bring more of a commercial rigour, I think, to our processes than some of our colleagues, but it's only because that's the nature of the business and this particular company.
Well, and also because you've had time and you're at a certain size.
Yeah.
So I think those things track out. But there's almost the paradox of size too. By being small, you stay small because you don't put these things in place. And so at what point do you kind of take the bold step and say, we'll bring in a very different set of skills around the board, even though it might not be necessarily what we want to hear. We're going to have some fights and some challenges about that's not why we started, that's not our purpose. But ultimately, take it to that next stage. Really, it's just fascinating. Are there any questions?
I didn't quite understand. Why is it the venue hires getting harder now? Is there more competition from?
Well, we can't get into Sky, which has a big impact for us. I mean, that's 40% of our revenue comes from those 2-3 week seasons. So that has a flow-on effect for us. We had a number of problems, we had 2 years ago we were told the Maiden wasn't going to be available, which is our core venue. We do 5 shows a year there because the university was looking at redeveloping it. So we finally got over that hurdle. We have an arrangement with the university to keep it going on a year by year basis, but we don't have anything secure more than 18 months out. So for us to look at long-term sustainability, we've got no venue to perform in or an insecure kind of tenancy arrangement. It's a real weakness to our goal of long-term sustainability.
Have you thought about the Ambassador Theatre at Point Chevalier?
I have thought about it. Our audience won't travel.
They do the burbs.
They do. It depends on the show, actually. Some shows they will do, and we did a show that toured around the region. It was at the North Shore, down at Glen Eden, then at Howick, and that we toured that one around. That was a small show. But our audience won't. Our audience, funnily enough, for instance, they like coming to the CBD. Because our audience also comes from right across the region, they come to a centre point. We have most of our audience on this side of the bridge, so if we do something over at the North Shore, I know we're going to make a loss because they will not go across the bridge to go and see a show.
You have to think about putting on a specific sort of style of show, something that would perhaps attract the right audience that would of course pack out for that particular.
The Bruce Mason is a venue that seats 1,200 people. It's a big ask, you know.
It's a big theatre when it's not full.
Even there when it wasn't pretty full, and
It's pretty scary. And also, you know, if it's costing you 15 grand a day, by the time you've got your show and everything in there, it's a big financial risk.
But I've got all the experience I have in organising shows in the music world is that really, unless you're going to be pretty certain that it's going to go off, it's kind of way too intimidating to go ahead with at times. But often we'll just try it, and some great things have happened, but there have been some complete things that just bollock stuff in life.
I wouldn't give up on it though. I mean,
I won't give up.
Yeah.
Way too much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I've stood up on stage in front of packed theatres and empty theatres. I can certainly say the packed theatres were a lot more fun, but I think the empty theatres kind of made them a little bit more worth it.